We're nearly halfway through January. And have you thought about dreaming of writing a nonfiction book this year? A book that captivates your readers and really helps them to solve their problems, and at the same time, builds your authority and leaves a lasting legacy for those who read it? In today's episode of Your Path to Publish, we're breaking down the full process of mastering the art of nonfiction writing. From choosing your topic to crafting your first draft, beginning to build your author platform, and launching your masterpiece of a book. Whether you're just starting or refining your next big idea, this episode is your ultimate guide to nonfiction writing success. This is Your Path to Publish. I'm your host, Zach Christensen. For the past decade, our team has guided authors just like you to find the best path to publish your book, get people excited to buy it even before it launches, and to turn it into the ultimate business card to build your business and your legacy. If you are ready to get your book out of your head and into people's hands, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. So since November of 2024, I have been working on my first book after 10 years in the book industry, consulting and working with authors. And there's nothing like jumping in and doing something yourself. When you jump in and do something yourself, you're all of a sudden in the details. You're thinking about all the stories you're sharing. You're thinking about how you're going to structure your book. What should the topic be? What should the scope of the book be? How long should it be? How will I market the book? It can be a little bit overwhelming. What I'm finding is that I am choosing to enjoy each step of the process. I've already had some delays and some things that have pushed the book back further than I want. And as I've been going through the outline and writing each chapter, I've realized there's things that I missed in the outline, but I'm having a growth mindset of what I can do. As I'm sharing each of these steps in writing your nonfiction book, I hope it will help clarify further what you can do as you're beginning to write your book, or if you're in the middle of your book, or you're near the end of your book. So let's dive in. First is defining your book project, starting with the idea. You need to get really clear on what your book's purpose is. Who is your target audience? And what do you want the readers to take away? Think of this as setting your roadmap before you begin a long road trip. You wouldn't start driving without knowing your full destination as well as stops along the way. And writing a book is no different. So understanding where you're going to end up. What's your book's purpose? What do you want someone at the end of your book to think, to do, and to feel? Who are those individuals that would most benefit from your book that can be your main audience to target? Because if you target a book for everyone, it will actually not really target anyone. And then what do you want to be the main takeaway? There may be several things that you put in the book that people can take away from and learn. But what is the main thing that you want people to remember about your book? When you pick a topic, it needs to align with your expertise and audience needs. If it's not really urgent for your audience, you may have a hard time getting their attention. Nonfiction books typically address a specific problem for a specific group of people. That could be a wide audience who all have the same problem or challenge that you're solving. And then you need to be able to speak to it based on your experience or expertise. That expertise can be based on your experience that you've gone through a similar problem. It could be something that you've spent many years learning about and teaching or understanding, and now it's time to share it. So how do you understand if this book is relevant? Well, this is where you begin to do your market research. You validate your idea using tools like Amazon, looking at Google Trends, looking at blogs, looking at social media, reaching out to people who you may think have this problem and asking them further about the struggles that they have with it and what the major problems are. The more detailed and the more drilled down you can get, the better. And this is where your passion will meet practicality. The right topic that you find will help fuel your motivation and will help you create a book that will resonate with your audience. The next step, number 3, is researching and outlining. You may know a lot about the topic, but just make sure you take the time to research it thoroughly to see if anything has changed and what the current either research or trends or ideas are around this topic. This helps establish your credibility and helps to make sure that what you put in the book is accurate. And that applies to when you're pulling in stories from outside individuals, when you're pulling in research, and when you're just sharing your experiences. After you've done the research, you jump into the outline of your book. Your outline is your roadmap. It helps you navigate the writing process with being able to focus and have guardrails. And these guardrails will help you know what to put in the book and what to keep out of the book, or what may be for a future book. The next step, number 4, is writing and revising. Write your first draft without aiming for perfection. As you're writing, just get everything out as fast as possible. Many of the ghostwriters that I work with say that getting your first draft out quickly helps save so much time and heartache, because you have all these thoughts and ideas that you're bringing together. And it's better to have it out on the page and see versus just letting it roll around in your mind. Seeing it on the page helps you to work together with what you've already put out there and what you need to do to refine it. After that first draft, that's when you go in and self-edit. You do it rigorously. You gather feedback from beta readers, and you're revising and polishing your work. And the great thing about getting your first draft out quickly is that you're able to see feedback from other sections, immediately apply to other sections as well. So you're polishing your work yourself, as well as getting professional editing done. And this includes developmental editing, line editing, and copy editing for grammar and spelling. And this is really the stage where your transition goes from writer to sculptor, if you will. You're refining and shaping your ideas into their best form. The final step, even though there's a lot of detail within this, is the publishing and marketing. As you're going through this process, you're thinking about, how am I going to get this book out into the world? You could explore traditional, self-publishing, or hybrid publishing models to find the best fit for you. At this point, you would know who your audience is, but do you know where they hang out? And how are you going to engage with them and encourage them to engage with you further through your author platform, whether that's a website, an email list, having social media, a Substack, a podcast, whatever that is. How are you going to build that out? Because in today's world, people want further connection. And the further connection that you have with individuals, the more opportunities you have to build trust. And when people trust you, they take a chance on what you're teaching them, and you're able to flourish, and you're able to learn, and you're able to help them and your readers flourish as well and overcome the challenges that you're seeking to solve. So by putting together a strong plan based on where you're going to publish, that turns into building out your platform and your brand, and then a strong marketing plan turns your book from a passion project into a professional success. So to recap, you're defining your book project, you're choosing the perfect topic for you and based on your expertise, you begin researching and then outlining, you're writing and revising your book continually, and then you go on to publish and marketing. And then you go on to publishing and marketing your book. This is a high-level overview, but it's good to dive into this whether you are a new author or working on your third book project. It's all about keeping everything in perspective while diving into the details of identifying where you're wanting to go. So I hope you're feeling inspired and equipped to start or continue your nonfiction writing journey. I'd love to hear about your book ideas or answer any of your questions that you have. If you want a question answered on a future episode, go to juxtabook.com/yourpathtopublish, and you'll see a button where you can click to leave your question, and I'll answer that on a future episode. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review. That helps get the word out, helps people know who this podcast is for and who it isn't. And on next week's episode, we'll be talking about how to get your book published. So diving into one of the steps we went through today. When your manuscript is finished, how do you go about exactly publishing the book? So thank you for your time today. Thank you for listening. Go out there dust off your manuscript and turn it into a bestseller that grows your business and your brand.